Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Bates Motel Season 2, Episode 9, the final episode before the finale, The Box. And holy shit, guys, this episode was so amazing. I mean, I love last week's, but this episode, just holy shit, seriously. What we found out at the end of this episode was huge. I mean, we pretty much figured what happened, but I was pretty sure that Norman did not kill Miss Watson. I was pretty sure about that, and this episode I beg to differ now, and we'll talk about that, but, you know, the biggest thing with this episode is just, I loved everything about this episode, and I cannot wait for the finale. I cannot wait for it. It's gonna be amazing, and I really love how this season, it's gone from really good to mediocre to amazing, and let's just get to this episode, because I loved it. So if you remember in the last episode, Norman was basically unconscious, he was blindfolded, and basically we find out where he is. He's being taken to a remote location. He's dropped into what looks like a shed. He's blindfolded, and when they first arrive, then his captors remove the blindfold, push him inside the shed, lock him in the rain lock him in as the rain pounds the area. That's why this episode's called The Box, basically, because Norman is locked in a box. So Norma arrives home. She calls, and she gets a call from, she calls for Norman. You know, she doesn't know where Norman is. She's really upset about the fight they had the previous night, and she's telling him to wake up. She doesn't get a response. She looks in his room and sees he's gone. And she calls for him everywhere, literally looking everywhere that she can to look for him. Looking in the office, checking with Emma. Emma has no idea where he is. Also, I liked how they had a lot more Emma in this episode, because we didn't have a lot of Emma in the last one, so this one made up for that, and I was happy with that. So, you know, then he's nowhere to be found, and when Emma asks if anything is wrong, Norma tells her that all is well, and to tell Norman that she is looking for him, and if Emma sees him, if Emma sees him, you know, to tell Norman if she's looking for him. So Emma gets the courage to ask what is going on, but Norma blows her off and runs off, so she doesn't tell Emma exactly what's going on. So then, we're still in the small confined shade that Norman was locked in. He's screaming as loud as he can for help, literally going insane. He's like, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" That's literally how loud he was. And I mean, that whole scene, Freddie Highmore's performance in this episode, this is probably his best performance on the entire show. He really was amazing. And Norma starts calling Norman over and over, at least leaving 15 messages. And her last message tells him she understands everything. He may be upset with her, but he needs to cut this shit out and call her. And she's sick with grief that she just starts panting heavily. She's just like, that's literally what she's doing for like 2 minutes. I mean, Norman's just going insane here. And I mean, it was really, that whole scene was amazing. And Romero meets with an old colleague and asks for his help in determining whether or not he locked up the wrong man for a crime, and he agrees to help. So Norma gets a call that begins with, "He's safe," and it's Nick Ford. And it turns out the person that took Norman was Nick Ford. And he basically said he's tired of the games. He will know if Norma goes to Romero with the information, and he ends the call with, "Make it happen." Norma refuses to Norma rushes to Dylan's to ask for help, and she tells him that Nick took Norman, and Norma blames Dylan for Norman being taken, and Dylan explains that though Norma offers his help, she cannot because Nick has asked him to kill his boss, and Norma pauses for a moment and then tells him he needs to do it. He has no choice. He must do it, and Dylan cannot believe she asked him to do this. She tells him there's no other choice, and it's kind of true. There really is no other choice he has but to kill Zane. Because he took Norman, and now it's getting personal, and now he has to. So Dylan arrives to see Jody. He asks where Nick is and where he's hiding. She tries to play coy, basically saying, "Oh, I don't know where he is." But Dylan knows better and tells Jody to do what she needs to do and make up her mind, and then storms off. And Romero comes looking for Norman, and Emma quickly asks if there's something wrong. Romero blows her off through the window, and rushes off to see Norma as he sees her arrive through the window. Just everyone's blowing Emma off. She's really upset in the episode. You know, it's not exactly working. And Romero asks how Norman is doing, but Norma lies and says he's very sick and contagious. He cannot talk. Romero tells Norma he needs to be honest about his visit and shares that they need to do an autopsy on Miss Watson. And now they want to do a polygraph on Norman because there's a conversation that links him to the crime. There's also a DNA match showing he had sex with Miss Watson, and Norma excuses herself, runs inside, and again, she's hyperventilating, really upset, not knowing what to do. Tries to call Norman again, but there's no answer. She cries into another voicemail and tells him how much she loves him through tears. And Norman is still imprisoned, talking to himself, seems he has given up on his fight to get out for the moment. And he then hears something, believes there's a sign of hope. We're not really sure, what's going on or whatever. And he sees people walking through a slit in the wood. But there isn't anyone coming for him, so the visitors tell Norman that they were sent to check on him and brought him some food, and they do neglect to answer any of his questions, about why he's locked up and why they're doing this. So as the men turn away for a moment, Norman runs off. He wants to get out of there as much as he can. He runs off with handcuffs on, looks like he's going to escape. He's visibly weak. I mean, the whole episode he has bloody hands, bloody face, mud all over his face, just very bad shit there. And they pick him up off the ground to bring him back to the box, as they call it, and they see Miss Watson's pearl necklace and a news article about her death that must have fallen from Norman's pocket. So then we get into the whole Miss Watson thing, because we really were not talking about that in the, they really didn't talk about that too much in the episode, except for that Romero scene. Now here is probably one of the saddest scenes of the episode. Emma goes to see Norma. And she gives Norma her 2 weeks notice that basically, she's telling her that she's gonna leave and she's done helping them. And Norma's really wondering why. And Em basically says there are too many reasons to explain. She does not feel like she should be, she feels like she should be more involved, but they don't include her despite her wanting to be a part of their family. Emma's pouring her heart out about how she wishes the family embraced and trusted her more to include her in family business, but she still feels isolated about it. So, Norma says that the news is sad, and, but she understands and will miss her. She then closes the door and leaves Emma even more sad. It really is sad about that, going on. But, I mean, the thing is that Emma kind of had to do that, I think, because the thing is, I think Emma did that probably because no one was really talking to her. Everyone was basically she was asking what happened, and they all just ignored her the entire episode. Norma ignored her. Romero ignored her. She doesn't know where Norman is. She doesn't feel like she's as big of a part of it anymore, and she wants to be, she wants to do her own thing. So, not only is she leaving their whole thing, she's actually leaving town. So, I don't know if Emma's actually going to be successful at that. I kind of feel like they're setting this up for Emma dying. I don't know if Emma's getting killed off this season or whatever, but I feel like something bad is going to happen to Emma in the next episode. Yeah. Sorry, that was my phone. Sorry about that. And, Emma goes to see, oh yeah, we just talked about that. So yeah, she goes to see Norma. And then we get probably one of the most intense scenes, of the episode, between Nick and Dylan and Zane. We don't know what Dylan's going to do. We don't know if he's going to listen to their advice. We just don't know what's going to happen here. One of Nick's men brings him the items they found from Norman, and as he sits by a fire, he examines what they're given, and Norman, meanwhile, is dealing with the man bugs that have now joined him in the box. He begins to get serious anxiety with the bugs crawling on him, just in really bad shape here, until he recalls his mother telling him once before, and I like this scene, I really did like this scene. It was a very nice flashback, He's kind of seeing in his head that his mother's telling him that if he ever is alone, he should know that she is always there for him. And remembering this is comforting him. He calms down. And Dylan finally arrives to see Zane. And he's questioned about why he's there and whether or not he can be trusted. He uses the excuse that he bought groceries. And Zane begins asking Dylan, just drilling Dylan with questions, if Jody has what it takes to run a business. And Zane tells Dylan that if he chooses her over him, he will be making a big mistake. And Dylan doesn't understand, as he says he believes they are all on the same side. He gives Dylan a message for Joey, advises him that he needs to do something convincing on her, and Dylan agrees to and leaves. Again, we don't know what he's going to do. So then, so then we go back to the Norma thing, and Emma ends up leaving. It's really sad there. Emma leaves, and Norma's greeted by George. He brings her flowers, tries to kiss her, but she's very distant and tells him she's not in the mood. He calls her on the way. She's acting, saying that he just doesn't get it. And Norma fires back and that he will never get her, and she screams for him to just leave. He obliges and takes off. She ends up running after him, realizing what she's done, but she speeds off. Emma, still in the parking lot, is right there to comfort Norma. And I feel like, Norma was just really upset at this point. We were really upset. She was really upset at Norman and everything. And because of what happened, she snapped at George. She didn't mean to, but she did. So I feel like that relationship is torn now, and I don't think we're going to see George again. So yeah. So then we get, here's the big scene with Dylan and Nick. Again, we don't know what he's going to do, but Dylan gets a meeting with Nick. Nick is upset that Zane is not dead. Dylan tells him there was no way he could kill him because there were other men where there were guns, and there was no way he could have done it. He could not have killed Zane. And Dylan shares Zane's location. Nick asks for his help. Nick asks Dylan if he can count on him anymore, and Dylan tells him he cannot help him alone. Nick says he's sorry to hear that and wants to take Dylan outside. And immediately after he takes him outside, the two just start fighting randomly. And I just thought this was an amazing scene. Dylan knows this is his only chance. He has to do it. He ends up hurting Nick. And he takes the thing from the fireplace, chucks it right at his face, and there, Nick dies, pretty much, and he wants to know, where, he ends up hurting Nick, but now he cannot find out where Nick is keeping Norman, because he just killed Nick. We're pretty much assuming that Nick is dead, so, he doesn't know where Nick is keeping Norman, and he runs out in hopes of finding Norman, and that's the last scene we see of Dylan in the episode. So, it definitely is really, really, interesting there. I'm really hoping that I think Dylan's gonna be the one to save Norman, and I really hope that does happen. I think that's probably what's gonna happen, is that Dylan's probably gonna end up saving Norman, but, I guess we'll just have to see. And then we get the last two scenes of the episode are just probably some of the most crucial scenes in the entire show so far. Norman's sleeping, but is awoken by the doorbell pounding on the door. We don't know who's there, and it's Romero. Romero basically is there saying, I can't take it anymore. He demands to see Norman. She tells him no. He pushes her his way in, begins looking for Norman. She yells at that he is actually not there after all. She fesses up and finally tells Romero that Nick took Norman. She even tells him the plot to have Dylan kill someone. Romero takes off, leaving Norman in tears, and, definitely Romero's kind of like, I'm going to find Norman and I'm going to kill him. Although I kind of, not kill him, I'm going to take him to jail. I'm not going to kill him, I'm going to take him to jail. I think Norman, though, is going to end up killing Romero. And then, here comes the best scene of the episode, because we finally get to see, because of him being on the box, he starts to remember what happened with Miss Watson, what he did to her. And again, I was pretty convinced that Miss Watson killed herself. I was pretty convinced of what happened. And, yeah, let's get to that. Basically, he sees his mother's comments about her and how they fought over it. And we knew that happened. And he then flashbacks about everything. And it turns out that him and Miss Watson did have sex. We knew that. But after they had sex, he took a knife and he slit her throat. So yes, Norman did kill Miss Watson. We found that out in this episode. And I just thought there was a great reveal. We finally found out that he did kill Miss Watson. She is dead now, and he begins to have trouble breathing as he still remains locked in the box. So, that is how this episode ends, and I thought it was an amazing ending. I mean, now we know that Norman did kill Miss Watson, and it's getting so, so good. This whole episode was so intense. So many great scenes in this episode. So many intense scenes in this episode. I'm really looking forward to this finale. A couple things about the finale, though. We see the scene in the finale where it looks like Norman's going to kill Norma. Do I think Norman will kill Norma in this episode? No. However, they could end it as a cliffhanger. One of my YouTube friends, Andre, a.k.a. Little Rocker Cutie, I don't know, 1995, I think his name is, something like that. He seems to think that... He seems to think that, it could be the ending to, that it could be the ending to the finale, and then it starts up that way. I think that could happen. I could definitely see that happening. That's a very good, possibility. That could happen. The other thing is Emma. Is Emma going to get seriously hurt? I feel, Emma's gonna I don't think Emma's gonna die. I do think she's gonna try to get out of town. It's not gonna work. I feel that's gonna happen. Romero, I see Romero dying. I see Romero dying in the next episode because he's on his way to find Norman. Norman just found out what he did to Miss Watson. He's not going to want anyone to find out the truth about what happened with Miss Watson, especially Norma, because she'd be really upset over it. Don't want to put any more stress on her, so I feel Norman's just going to kill Romero. I feel that's going to happen. Will Dylan find Norman? I don't know. Is Dylan going to kill Zane? Yes, Dylan will kill Zane. He just killed Nick, so now he's going to kill Zane. and I'm thinking that Dylan is going to find Norman, realize that Zane is doing this, kill all those guys, or Norman will kill them. I think it's going to be a really awesome finale, and I cannot wait for the finale. It's going to be really, really awesome to see. Just going to be a really, really intense finale, definitely. And, you know, it's going to be really, really great, and I cannot wait for it, you know. The thing is with this season, I will say, before I get to that, the thing with this season is that it did start off kind of rough, but it really picked up these last 3 episodes, these last 2 episodes, and both of them have been absolutely fantastic. And this is by far the best episode of the season, because now we know that Norman did kill Miss Watson, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm really looking forward to it. So, that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys saw of the episode. What's going to happen in the finale? I'm really curious. Let me know what you guys think about that. And again, guys, definitely check out my live stream with the Kid of Awesome. It'll be up sometime today. Later, I don't know when, but we will be doing a live stream on that. So definitely check that out. You know, if you guys want to check that out, you don't have to. I want to give him shout outs because he's a really great YouTuber. He does not have as many viewers or subscribers as I do. I don't mean to brag or anything, but he's not as, you know, I'm not as we're both not popular YouTubers. I will admit that. I'm not a popular YouTuber or anything. He only has 50 subscribers, though, so please subscribe to him, you know, watch his videos, because he really is a great YouTuber. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Glee. 3 episodes left, and I cannot wait for that, so I will see you guys for that episode review. Okay, bye.